her sisters, and Lazarus. When he had heard, therefore, he was sick, he abode 2 days still in the same place where he was. Wait, hey, Jesus, he's sick. Yeah, but we're going to stay here for 2 days. That's a delay, right? Then after that saith he to his disciples, let us go into Judea again. His disciples say unto him, Master, the Jews of late sought to stone thee, and goest thou thither again? Right? And I think I misread that. After that, he said to the disciples, all right, let us go into Judea again. Then his disciples like, hey, you do realize going there could be us. Forget Lazarus being sick unto death. We could die. All right, they're preoccupied with self. That's the sad state of the human condition, is we're always concerned with ourselves. Jesus answered, are there not 12 hours in the day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbleth not, because he seeth the light of this world. But if a man walk in the night, he stumbleth, because there is no light in him. These things said he, and after that he saith unto them, our friend Lazarus sleepeth, but I go that I may wake him out of sleep. Then said his disciples, Lord, if he sleep, he shall do well. Again, nobody understands what Jesus is talking here. I don't even know if they understood the whole light, walk in the light, walk in the darkness concept. I don't know if they understood that. And they're like, Jesus, I'm going to wake him from his sleep. And they're like, well, if he's sleeping, why would we want to wake him? Let's just leave him alone. There's a lot of confusion here. Howbeit Jesus spake of his death, but they thought that he had spoken of taking of rest and sleep. Then said Jesus unto them plainly, Lazarus is dead. It's almost like Jesus becomes frustrated. Hey guys, when are you going to understand what I'm talking about here? Lazarus is dead. All right. And I am glad for your sakes that I was not there, to the intent you may believe. Nevertheless, let us go unto him. Then said Thomas, which is called Didymus, unto his fellow disciples, let us also go, that we may die with him. Now, that's Thomas basically saying, hey, look, if we go there, we're going to possibly die, so let's go with him and be willing to die. All right. We could talk there. Then when Jesus came, he found that he had lain in the grave for 4 days already. Now Bethany was nigh unto Jerusalem, about 15 furlongs off. And many of the Jews came to Martha and Mary to comfort them concerning their brother. Then Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him, but Mary sat still in the house. Then said Martha unto Jesus, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. Now, I don't know exactly how we should read it, what emotion we should infer there, but there seems to be at least a little bit of, blame. If you would have been here on time, he wouldn't have died. But you didn't show up on time. You delayed. Now, she perceives it as your delay now has led to an inevitable situation. Right? Now, she's not in any way obviously concerned with, God's glory in the situation. But listen to what she says. But I know that even now, whatsoever thou wilt ask of God, God will give it thee. Now, I don't know if she's saying that. Does she truly believe that he can raise him from the dead? There's a lot here that we can infer. We can infer the emotion. Like, Lord, if you would have been here on time, he wouldn't have died. But whatever you ask of God, I know he will give it thee. Does she believe he can raise him from the dead? Jesus said unto her, that brother shall rise again. Martha said unto him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Clearly, therefore, she wasn't believing that he was about to raise him from the dead then. So she seems to be at least acknowledging, look, you could have been here, you could have saved him, you didn't, he's dead, but, Okay, she seems to have some, she's not completely emotional with the delay, but she seems to be at least, she's given up any hope. Maybe that's a way, or at least giving up any hope for the current situation. She has hope for the resurrection at a later time. Jesus saith unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet he shall live. And whoever so liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? She saith unto him, Yea, Lord, I believe that thou art the Christ, the Son of God, which should come into the world. And when he And when she had so said, she went her way and called Mary her sister secretly, saying, The master is come and calleth for thee. And as soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came unto him. Now Jesus was not yet come into the town, but was in the place where Martha met him. The Jews then, which were with her in the house and comforted her, when they saw Mary, that she rose up hastily and went out, followed her, saying, She goeth out unto the grave to weep there. Then when Mary was come where Jesus was and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying unto him, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. Now this definitely has more emotion described here. When Jesus therefore saw her weeping, and the Jews also weeping, which came with her, he groaned in his spirit and was troubled, and said, What? Where have you laid him? They said unto him, Lord, come and see. Jesus wept. Now, it seems to be inferred from the text that he's weeping because of their weeping. And he's not weeping in a sense of showing that like, oh man, they're sad, I'm sad. I think he's weeping in the sense because they don't believe. The delay has caused them to give up hope. Their response to the delay is a lack of faith, a lack of trust, a lack of hope. In a way, it's similar to what Israel did. Israel was like, well, where's Moses? Well, we're done. Okay, give us a God. Give us some gods. Okay, we don't know what happened to this Moses. They give up hope. And in a similar way, we have the same thing happening here. Jesus delayed. He waited. Lazarus died. He shows up. Everyone is weeping. Everyone's hope is shattered. Everyone's faith is shattered. Those who had faith that if he would have gotten there on time, he could have healed him, they've lost that faith. And now they're resolved to, but they all know, they all believe that if Jesus would have gotten there on time, it would have been okay. And then we know what happens. Jesus calls Lazarus forth and he raises him from the dead, demonstrating that their lack of faith and their lack of hope was uncalled for, and they misunderstood that this entire delay occurred for God's glory and for God's purpose. All right? So, let me ask you again, how do you handle a delay? Do you handle a delay by forgetting God? The delay occurs, whatever the delay may be. It may be a delay in an answer in prayer. It may be a delay just in life. It can be a delay. Something occurs, something that was supposed to happen when it was supposed to happen. It doesn't happen when it was supposed to happen. And your response is, forget God, and God just becomes like a foreign subject to you at that moment. Do you focus on self? It's the preoccupation where this delay is going to negatively impact me. Do you turn to some form of idolatry? You forget God and you turn to something else other than God. That's a possibility. Do you lose faith? Do you lose faith and begin to doubt? Lord, where were you? Why didn't you do this when I needed you to do this? I think the connecting these two passages together, I think gives us a strong challenge to how we handle delays. And in the John passage, we at least get a little glimpse that in that particular case, the delay was for a purpose, for God's glory. Now, if we believe God is sovereign and he works all things out according to the counsel of his will, then we would have to acknowledge that delays fall within God's sovereign decrees, God's sovereign will. Now, we may not understand the delay. We may not be able to perceive the why behind the delay, but we can hopefully do this. Lord, I don't understand the delay. I don't necessarily like the delay. But if you can receive glory in the delay, then I humbly accept the delay. Delays, anything that messes up the way we want life to work, demonstrates what we find most important. Let me say that again. Delays or anything that disrupts the way you want life to happen, that really reveals what is the most important thing to you. What is most important to you? God's glory, God's honor, God's kingdom, or your schedule, your life, and the way you want things to work. And the reality is we are more preoccupied with self. And when it doesn't work the way we want, it shows up by the way we get mad, the way we complain, the way we grumble, the way we murmur, and the different things that we do. We forget God and we say, no, my life didn't work the way I wanted it to do today, so I'm going to act like a kid and throw a fit. It's just a more sophisticated fit because now we're older. Instead of saying, Lord, I don't understand the delay, I don't understand why this is happening, but for your glory. I know it has to be somehow a part of your sovereign plan. That is a radically different approach than the children of Israel took in Exodus, and a radically different approach than was taken by Mary and Martha and how they responded to Jesus' delay in coming to Lazarus. John chapter 11, Exodus chapter 32. Now, this was an impromptu devotional message. All right. Now, for those who are new to these impromptu devotional messages, you may go, man, you could have outlined that better. I understand that. This is me having my devotional time out loud, all right? This is not me planning it all and bringing it to you. It's me saying, okay, let's talk about this together, and then hopefully it sparks further study and work by other people. It's trying to give you some spiritual food that you can then, I'm trying to give you the spiritual ingredients for you to turn it into a spiritual meal. Does that make sense? It's my own personal devotional time just done live. And I want it to be that way. I don't want it to be as prepared and as fleshed out as it could be, because I want it to be organic. I want it to be real. This is me going, man, I've been thinking about this. Let's talk about it. And then, of course, we have a phone call in the middle to really make it sound very unprofessional. I apologize. Nothing I can do about that. So I want you to think about that. I can't speak for you, but I don't like delays. And I don't know what I would do in either situation. Like I would hope, obviously we'd like to pretend. I wouldn't be like Mary and Martha. I'd be like, Jesus is not here. To God be the glory, I would like to hope that I would handle it spiritually, but I probably would whine and complain. Well, you know what? He heals all kinds of other people. And then when Lazarus is sick and we send word, he doesn't bother to show up. He can show up to heal that person. He can show up to heal that person, but he can't show up to heal my brother. I probably would start sounding like that. And you can go, oh, I would never. You probably would as well. And I don't know what I would be doing in the situation with the children of Israel. I've been in bondage. I've been in slavery. I've seen all kinds of things. Moses has disappeared. I'd be like, oh boy, here we go again. Okay, Moses just bailed on us. Moses just took a hike and he never came back. Okay, it's over. Who knows? I probably would be whining and complaining then as well. And you know why? Because that demonstrates that sometimes I care more about me, my schedule, my life, my plans, things to work my way. And when they don't, I murmur and complain instead of saying, Lord, take this disruption in my schedule, take this delay, take this disruption of my life. Your glory, your honor, it's about you. It's not about me. Man, it's easy to say, but I tend to live my life for me. And I'm probably in good company because you're probably the same. All right, thank you for listening to this impromptu devotional study. Exodus 32, John 11. Please, you work on it and see if you can see some contrast and correlation and connections. And we don't want to push it beyond what the texts are doing. It's just an interesting, you put those texts next to one another. Both texts speak of a delay, and I think it's interesting to contrast those two. All right? How do you handle delays? You've got examples of how not to handle delays. I would love to get your feedback. You can email me at newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. Thank you for listening to this impromptu devotional study. I'll try to be back later with another one. But listen, I promise you this. When I do the next live broadcast, I'm going to put the phone in the other room. I promise. I really do. All right, everyone, have a great day. God bless.